So I'm just taking a minute while none of the construction equipment is running, because today is Sunday. I just wanted to take a minute to kind of bring everybody up to speed as to what's going on the property. We have nearly, I'd say 4/5, maybe slightly more, but the pad is nearly finished for the shop. Virtually all the shell has been brought in. Maybe another 9 inches of shell needs to be brought in, and then we'll be ready to start rolling in with 3/4 minus to really start smoothing out that surface and leveling it out. So very excited. Hopefully this week the pad will be finished for the shop and we'll actually be ready to start construction. The other thing is earlier this week we started with the construction of the foundation. So super exciting to see the footprint of our future home starting to be developed. So far, everything has been dug out and we are ready for forms. Unfortunately, when you custom build, you gotta wait for a permit to do a lot of stuff. So at this point, we're at a standstill on developing the foundation any further. And actually, I stand corrected. We're going to bring in a little bit of shell. We're going to bring in some 3/4 minus for the foundation. And then after that, we're going to be waiting for the building permit to be issued. Plans basically have been finalized. We're just going to wait for the engineered trusses. And once we have engineered trusses, we'll be able to put that all together. Plans, engineered trusses, application, and hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have building permits submitted, approved. And so in as little as 2 weeks, but more likely 3 weeks, we'll be ready to start forms for the foundation. And then things will really be happening, because once the foundation is set, you start framing. And framing goes up real quick. It's one of the fastest stages of the construction process because each individual wall, depending on the size of the wall, may only take a really skilled framer a couple hours to build a wall. Bam, exterior wall goes up. And this is a single story. So one of the easiest structures to frame out, a single story. And all the exterior walls get built first, and then the interior walls get built. Once the interior walls are constructed, then the roof trusses go on. And you put the roof sheeting, vapor barrier, and roof. That is priority number one once the framing gets completed, because you can start the dry out process. All lumber gets delivered in the Pacific Northwest, fairly high moisture content, and we like to make sure that our structures are dry before you even consider doing anything with the walls, such as finishing. So you don't do insulation, you don't do drywall until all of your framing timbers are very low in moisture content and the house is considered dry. So getting a roof on it, and we're building, this is almost May, we're almost into May. Great time to build a structure in the Pacific Northwest, because we have very little rain between June through September, and that helps to keep the framing members nice and dry while the house is being framed. So anyhow, yeah, I can't wait to show you the property. I'm going to do some drone work so you really get a sense of what's going on from overhead, because it's a lot more exciting when you get to see kind of the grand scope of things. So the shop and house, let's see here, the shop is going to be 60 by 60, may attach a 12-foot lean-to just for dry exterior storage, such as farm implements. We're going to have a rotary cutter. probably a box blade. We may have a rake because what we're buying is raw land. And well, it's really nice to be able to work the land, maybe bring in some premium topsoil, spread it out, and then rake it. And then that way we can have a nice manicured lawn and landscaping area. But I digress. We're going to have a bucket, a mid-mount mower, a field mower, all the implements you need. Oh, post hole digger, let's not forget about that, to really start working the land, maintaining the land, and enjoying being here on our little piece of paradise. So anyhow, I digress. 12-foot lean-to, and then of course the house, and that's super exciting. So without any further delay, let me go ahead and get into that drone work. Well, let's talk 30 seconds. I know I said I was going to get to the drone work, but I really wanted to show you this. This is really exciting. Earlier this week, I talked about the reservoirs that I'm standing on. When you have a well that's not producing up to your domestic use, you got to have a buffer. And now our reservoirs have been set into place. You can see that we've got a little bit of groundwork to do, but this kind of gives you a sense as to what's going on. So we only were able to dig roughly 3 feet into the earth before we hit hard pack, and it just didn't make sense to spend a lot of time on it because we can push a little dirt up here and actually bring this up a little bit, and that's what we did. So each tank 2,000 gallons, so we got 2,000 gallons here, 2,000 gallons here, and you could simply just build a small pump house to accommodate the mechanical equipment that's going to be in here, and that's going to be a pump. In most cases, you're going to need a water softener. We got lucky, our water is fairly soft, and we don't have to do a water softener. So all we're going to have is a filter, and we're also going to install a UV light. And between those two things, we're going to have potable water, and it's going to be drinkable, and it's going to be on our own land. So we're super excited about that. But what we're going to do, because we've got about a year before we have, well, as I was, the shop is going to be built in approximately 4 weeks, but we've got, you know, a fair amount of garden implements, just shovels and rakes and post hole diggers, and I do have some stuff that I'd like to get out of the weather as quickly as possible. And so building a small pump house on here, which is 12 by 12, makes all the sense in the world. We're just going to go ahead and house all the mechanical equipment in here, and then of course whatever garden implements we want. Not enough room for a tractor. Well, as I was, you could do a very, very small tractor without a bucket, probably a riding lawnmower. It's about as big as you could get in here as a riding lawnmower, but definitely a push mower, weed eaters, and so forth. But tractors, they're going to go inside the shop. So 12 by 12, and that keeps all the garden tools readily accessible and available for use out on the land. And so this is what the reservoirs look like now that we've done a little bit of earth movement and grading. Now, there's one other thing I want to show you, is I'm going to show you kind of the business end of these reservoirs, okay? So here it is. They've been backfilled slightly, okay? So underneath these two connection points, there's actually a lower pipe that connects both this tank and this tank. So when one tank fills, the other tank fills. And then we have the upper connection points, and those, I'm not entirely sure because we've tied both of these tanks together, which of these tanks Ashland pump is going to connect the pressure pump to. So that'll be super interesting. And he gets in there, he crawls into the tank, he will hook up the well, not the well, he'll hook up house or supply line. And then, of course, we have to draw the well line into here. So I'm not sure which of these two tanks he's going to put the fill from the well into, but you know, certainly you have your choice between right or left. And I'm sure there's some methodology to that. And I'm going to make sure to film that because I'm curious as to how these will get piped. Okay, so we'll have an update. I think he's supposed to be actually back on Tuesday or Wednesday, so I'll make sure to film that, and we'll have a complete idea as to which serves what purpose. Okay.